Hey guys, before going any further into the course, I first wanted to clear up some confusion and I wanted to burst a couple of myths. You see, the popular internet marketing forums and the so-called internet marketing gurus would have you believe that your AdSense earnings at the end of the day are completely dependent on the CPC or the cost per click of your advertisements. And they would have you create websites around very high-priced keywords as suggested by Google AdWords. Since you are a Google AdSense user, you already probably know what Google AdWords is. If you don't know, well, Google AdWords is the advertiser platform and Google AdSense is the publisher platform. Advertisers put their advertisements on Google AdWords and those same advertisements start appearing in the websites and blogs that use Google AdSense. As simple as that. Now, if you go to Google AdWords, you would see there are a lot of keywords out there that have very high CPCs. The internet marketing gurus and the forums would have you believe that you have to create your website or blog around keywords that have very high CPCs on Google AdWords because that, according to them, is the only way to earn more using Google AdSense. Now, that could not be further away from the truth. The truth is, those keywords have nothing to do with your advertisements on your websites or blogs. The advertisements that get displayed in the Google AdSense blocks are completely dependent on the browsing history and the browsing habits of the visitors that come to your website, and also the geographic location of the person coming to your website. That's it. The CPC of your advertisements cannot be controlled by you. So no matter what anyone else tells you, you cannot control the CPC of your advertisements. I'll give you an example here. A couple of years back, mesothelioma attorneys, mesothelioma lawyers, asbestos cancer, information about asbestos cancer. These keywords were very high priced on Google AdWords. They were going for a few $100s for every single click. Advertisers were paying a lot of money for these keywords. Now, seeing this, a lot of people who were using AdSense went ahead and started creating websites around mesothelioma and asbestos lung cancer. I'll tell you what, after a few days, they found out that the traffic that was coming to their website was not at all seeing advertisements related to asbestos cancer or mesothelioma or any of that stuff. Now, they were hoping that people would come to their website and only see advertisements related to asbestos cancer or mesothelioma, and since they were very high-priced keywords, they would click on a single advertisement and that single click would generate hundreds of dollars for the advertisement publisher or the blog owner. But in reality, that did not happen. Many websites ended up being banned by Google because there was too much keyword stuffing in there related to mesothelioma and asbestos lung cancer, because they were obviously trying to influence the ads. And then those websites that did survive the Google ban, those websites that did manage to stay in Google rankings, did not make very good money, and some of them actually threw in the towel after a couple of months. I personally know a few guys who did that. I'll tell you the reason for that. Let's say, for instance, someone is from the UK and you have a website that is about maybe jobs and employment, and you are based out of the United States. This guy from the UK, he is probably looking for funeral homes, information about funeral homes online, and then he also decides to check out some jobs and he comes to your website. Now, since you are in the jobs and employment niche, you would expect that whenever a visitor comes to your website, he would see advertisements related to jobs and employment. But in this case, this guy was browsing for information related to funeral homes and he is based out of the United Kingdom. So when he comes to your website, he would probably see advertisements related to funeral homes in the United Kingdom and not jobs and employment advertisements. That is what Google AdSense is all about. Google keeps all browsing information, all browsing data, and they serve their advertisements accordingly. So it doesn't really matter what kind of keywords you have in your website, what kind of niche your website is in. At the end of the day, your advertisement CPC is completely going to be dependent on the browsing history and browsing habits of your users or your traffic. That is the reason why you should take care of your traffic source. If your traffic source is good, if their browsing history is good, then your CPCs are going to be high. but then you really cannot control the CPCs of your advertisements on your website. Now, if that is the truth, if you cannot really control the CPCs of your advertisements on your website, how can you control the earnings generated by AdSense clicks on your website? The only way to control your earnings or increase your earnings is by increasing your CTR. You can play around with different tricks and techniques, and you can increase the click-through rates on your website. You cannot change the way your advertisements are displayed. You cannot change the CPCs of your advertisements. What you can do is you can change the CTR of your advertisements or the advertisement blocks on your website. And that is what is going to determine how much money you make. So if you are still living in that confusion land, and if you still think that it's not possible to increase your earnings by increasing your CTR, and the only way to increase your earnings is by increasing the CPCs, which is not possible to do, you should rethink your decision. It is absolutely not possible to influence the CPCs of your advertisements on your website or blog. That cannot be done. What you can do is you can increase the CTR, and that is the only possible way to increase your earnings with Google AdSense. Now, I wanted to clear this out because I know that a lot of you people would come back to me and probably ask me that, hey, I created a website around very high-priced keywords, and those keywords I have seen on maybe SEMrush or maybe Longtail Pro or maybe Google AdWords, and the price tags are very big. Those are very highly priced keywords, but I'm still not getting very high earnings. The reason for that is your CTR needs to improve. You cannot influence the CPCs. So stop writing content around high-paying keywords. That simply does not work. That's it, folks. I wanted to clear this confusion so you do not stray too far into the desert and go in the wrong direction. Okay? CTR is the way to go once again. Thank you for your time. From my next lecture onwards, we are going to be talking about how to set up your website and how to increase your CTR. Thanks again. I'll see you in my next lecture.